So now here we come to our 5th video for the year 2000. And I have to stop and think. The number of videos that it's taking to finish this. Will I get them all posted? You know, in a timely manner? I mean, the ones I did all in one afternoon for 1999, 3 weeks ago, I only just finished posting them, you know, this morning. So I hope I can get all 5 of these posted in the next couple of days, and that you don't have to wait until November to see them, because that would really suck. So I'll do my best. I don't know if I'll get them all posted the same night, which is Sunday, that I have made them, but hopefully I can get some of them posted, get them all posted on Monday, and maybe on Tuesday morning, and get them all done while I have some time to do so. I'm hoping that, because then later in the week I have to be really busy, and I won't be able to be posting videos. It takes a while to post each video. Alright, enough of that crap. This is the 5th part of my talk about Halloween Horror Nights 10. And I just got done talking about Nightmare Creatures, an attraction that was set up inside the Confrontation ride at that time. But that wasn't the only ride that was twisted in the mind of Jack. Of course, we already talked about Earthquake, where one of the actual haunted houses was built into the Earthquake ride, so that in order to go onto the haunted house, you had to go through the ride first. But there was another ride that was taken a little step further into the demented world of evil, and this was the Jaws ride. The Jaws ride, which was changed its name to Bloody Waters. And so you rode the Jaws ride as you normally would, with the same spiel about the killer shark. But when you went into the boathouse, things began to change. In the boathouse, in addition to your normal encounter with the damn shark once again, there were 2 other things in it. The clown Jack, of course, would pop up once again, but in addition to Jack, there was another sinister character that fit in very well with the whole idea of a boathouse. It was a character dressed in a slick fisherman's cover, what do they call those rain slickers, with a hook, who attacked you several times while you're in the boathouse. And of course that was none other than the fisherman from the motion pictures I Know What You Did Last Summer, and its sequel, I Know What You Did Last Summer Part 2. Even though these weren't Universal properties, nevertheless, they got the rights to use the character for the house, or they just did and didn't tell anyone. I don't know what was it, but that character, and everyone knew who it was when they see the guy in the fisherman slicker with a hook. Okay, yeah, that's who that is. So you have that guy attacking you on one side, Jack the Clown on the other side, and then the damn shark pops up like he would at the right point in the boathouse, and it's like, holy crap, it's not bad enough I'm going to be eaten by a shark, I'm going to be eviscerated by the evil fisherman from the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies, and that freaking clown's in here too. I'm dead! Help! So that's what Jaws Bloody Waters was like that year. Fun. So we had then all of these wonderful bits and pieces of I mean, like I said, it encompassed the whole park. We had scare zones more than usual, and houses, and then, you know, the rides themselves turned into part of it. But of course there were also shows, as always. In addition to the parade, which I already mentioned, there were shows, and of course Jack had his own float, of course, on the parade, in addition to the other usual characters, including my favorite at the time, Darkness, would also appear gloriously in the parade. Well, there were, in addition to the usual shows like Beetlejuice, and of course, as usual, a bandstand set up in Hollywood. But this year, if I'm not mistaken, instead of having a band, they only had a DJ. And that sort of was the segue from having the bands perform to having a DJ, and eventually the whole thing would be done away with altogether. So I guess about this time there were other venues for bands to perform around Universal, and they stopped having it as part of Horror Nights. Or they figured that's not why people come here to hear a concert. They come here to get the shit scared out of them. So that might be why they did that. But they did have another show called Jacked Up, and this was a show which featured the clown, but also a lot of pretty girls dancing like they did before with that Inferno show. So it was a kind of the same idea. It was presented in the Animal Actors a theater. And they had the Jack in the Box, and Jack would pop out, and then the scantily clad girls, of course, some of them dressed in a way that would remind you of, say, Chance and other characters that we have seen would be involved in this show. Of course, the big show, though, I didn't see Jacked Up, though, but I heard about it. But the big show, of course, as always, when it comes to shows at Halloween Horror Nights, was Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure. The 9th Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure, of course, since the thing started in '92. It's always one digit below the event. So the 9th Bill and Ted's Halloween Adventure. Now this time, again, following the usual formula, you have the villain plotting to take over. You have Bill and Ted getting pop culture heroes together to fight the villain and pop culture villains that he has, and there's conflict, there's resolution, dancing for no reason. But also a lot more comedy bits and sketches in between characters that aren't really heroes or villains, but are just there to make you laugh and to make fun of that year's pop culture, and of course also political humor would pop in as well. And that was a year for that. It was actually a pretty good show that year. The villain this year was Mr. Burns. Excellent. Mr. Burns from The Simpsons was the villain that year, accompanied by his assistant, Waylon Smithers, who, of course, thinks Mr. Burns is just fabulous, wonderful. And they had a evil plan called Kidnapster, which of course fit into the whole controversial Napster, which was a way of downloading songs off the internet instead of buying CDs, which was considered stealing in those days. All you kids with your iPods and MP3 players are going, huh? What's a CD? You buy a disc? No. You burn a disc. What are you talking about, old man? So, yeah, in those days that was the idea. So they would actually kidnap the performers, the musicians, to make them into this kid. What happened? Well, that was weird. All of a sudden, everything froze up for a minute, and I had the beach ball from hell going around and around, and it scared me. I thought, oh God, don't tell me I have to start this part 5 all over again. Okay, so the idea was that they would actually abduct the musicians. In this way, it was like they wouldn't just pirate the songs, they'd pirate the whole damn musician. It's Kidnapster, get it? That's a joke. So, amongst the musicians they're planning to kidnap were Bill and Ted, Wild Stallions. Of course, that's the whole plot. So, in order to help them defeat the evil villain, they call in Tom Cruise, of course, because, again, Tom Cruise perennially is a character that is mocked horribly at Bill and Ted. And this year, in the year 2000, it was, of course, Mission Impossible, Ethan Hunt version of Tom Cruise that was used as the butt of the joke. Bill and Ted, when they arrived in the show, came in the Mystery Machine with Scooby-Doo. Of course, the movie had come out that year. Scooby was seen. The other people were not seen. Shaggy, I guess, was still in the Mystery Machine, sleeping off something. And but Bill and Ted, when they came out of the machine, I mean, there was lots of smoke coming out of the van when they stepped out, and they were really hungry for some reason when they stepped out of that van. Anyway, basically, they had to call on Shaft. There was a remake of Shaft with, the baddest motherfucker in the world, basically. Damn it, I can't. How can I forget the man's name? You know who I mean, though. He's been in everything. Snakes on a Plane, Pulp Fiction. You know who I'm talking about. I can't remember the fucking name for some reason. I've got a mental block. But he played Shaft, you know, not Richard Roundtree, the original Shaft. See, remember the original? Yeah, brain fart. But the new Shaft, which was not a big hit, but he was one of the heroes. Charlie's Angels, the remake Charlie's Angels. I mean, not remake because it was a TV series, but with Drew Barrymore and those Charlie's Angels were there to. And that's called kicking ass. Were there to help them, and of course the X-Men movie, the first one, had come out, so it was Wolverine there for the first time in Bill and Ted, and all of these guys were fighting the bad guys, which in addition to Mr. Burns and Smithers included the Ghostface killer from Scream once again, this time apparently not Austin Powers under the hood, and Mystique from the X-Men. A lot of other comedy characters came, Jack and Karen from Will and Grace, Big Mama from Big Mama's House, who apparently was one of the villains, even though she really was there as comedy. She showed up as she fought against the good guys for a while. A running gag through the whole show featuring the Crocodile Hunter, who would come in. Now, of course, it would be very bad taste because, he's dead, the stingray. And but back then he was still alive and very popular, and it was like he would come out and say, I've covered myself in poo, crocodile poo, to attract the, I can't do it, but basically he would come out and claim he had smeared I've smeared myself in mutant poo to attract the mutant, as one of his own kind. Here we see the mutant, talking about Wolverine, as if Wolverine was an animal that he was tracking. And it was a running gag. It was quite effective. Another thing, you may not know anything about this if you're a certain age, but there was a big story in the news back then about a little boy from Cuba who had gotten to the United States as on one of the floating raft things, and his mother died, and the boy survived, and he was like the only survivor. It was Elian Gonzalez, and the father was still alive in Cuba and wanted his son back, and there was this huge whole thing, and of course he became a political footballer. The Republicans said you can't give him back because that would be giving him back to communists, even though that was his father, his only surviving, his parent, and his apparently uncle or some relatives in Miami were like, no, he has to stay here, and the poor kid was like, what do you want to do, kid? He wanted to go back to his dad because his mom was dead. He wanted to go back to that. What makes. Eventually, the Justice Department said he has to go back to his father because that's, basically the law. But there was a whole lot because he's the next of kin and all of that, and he's the actual parent. So there was all this fighting over it for a long time in the media. And so on the Bill and Ted show, they had Elian running around being chased by Janet Reno, who, of course, at that time was the head of the Justice Department, being the Attorney General, chasing and trying to catch Elian. And of course, eventually, good triumphed over evil, as usual, and then the musical acts would perform all the latest hits of the time. And we had Britney Spears and Lil Kim, and they fought each other over who was the biggest bitch, I guess. I think one of them grabbed the other one's weave. And we had Eminem singing Slim Shady. We had NSYNC singing Bye Bye Bye. That was actually the final number. Enrique Iglesias singing one of his hits at the time. All of these, same actor who played Elian Gonzalez suddenly became Enrique Iglesias to sing a song. All of this was going, the musical numbers as you usually have. But the musical number that I remember, and this keys into what I said at the beginning about evil clowns and how underneath it all, what clowns do is remind us that all of our civilized veneer in life is just window dressing, and underneath it there's a bloodthirsty, fanged thing, and civilization could just fall apart at any moment. We go to chaos. And it was a band called the Bloodhound Gang, and they came out and sang their hit song at the time, You and Me, Baby, Ain't Nothing But Mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. Do it again, yeah. The whole song. So that whole theme was there in Bill and Ted, oddly enough, that, basically, were monkeys. So that's sort of the thing that fits in with the whole clown archetype, at least to me. And that completes Halloween Horror Nights 10. Next time, we go to 2001 and Eddie, or do we?